Well, hello there. This is Virtuals, the chess noob, learning and having fun with chess. I really wanted to show you this game, a very, very satisfying game that I recently played at the beginning of the year in an inter-club tournament. So I was playing for Team Australia, and my opponent, I think, was playing for a club named the Great British Empire. And I got to play a Vienna game in this game. Very lovely game. Let's go have a look. And of course, the Vienna starts with 1e4, e5, knight c3, queen's knight. Now, my opponent now plays a somewhat unusual response to the Vienna, c5. So, very interesting. They played e5 and then c5. And I know enough about the Vienna to know that even though that's not a blunder in any way, it's kind of inaccurate. Borderline mistake, mostly because it doesn't really have any particularly good influence on how the Vienna usually develops. So effectively, it's like winning a little bit of tempo. So here, 2 pawns, I develop my bishop, basically bishop looking at the f7 square. Keep an eye on f7. They develop a knight, very, very normal. And part of the Vienna structure is that I want to play f4 and then the knight behind the f pawn. Now, if they didn't play this, I could potentially just play f4 straight up, Vienna Gambit. I could still potentially play the Vienna Gambit like move, but I decided to play a little bit more solidly here. It is a tournament game, don't want to lose a match for my club. And so to place the pawn on f4, so f pawn on f4, I need it defended by the bishop, so first need to move the d pawn. So d3, this will come next. They now decide to play another sort of a waiting sort of move, h6. I suppose they're sort of worried potentially of a piece coming here. However, keep an eye on this pawn and that pawn. Neither of those pawns really contribute now to the rest of the game. And potentially it's like winning tempo. So in this particular setup of the Vienna, it's like a little bit like winning tempo. Also note that this move also potentially weakens the defense of the g6 square because it can't defend this way, which means that pawn can't move forward and for it to be defended like that. So just keep that in mind as well. So these flank pawn moves do potentially cause a bit of weakness. All right, there we go. f4 potentially taking, and then that allows me to open up my f-file, a very, very common tactical approach in the Vienna. Or if they take this way, take back with the bishop with development, accept the loss of a bit of material with a little bit of tempo. All right, so they now bring out their bishop. You can see that's a bit of a mistake. Looks like they're trying to, provide some pressure there, but that's fine. I just take. I want to open that file anyway. Take. Expected they'll take back, and now bishop's kind of in the wrong place because I get a bit of tempo by knight to f3, normal square for the knight with an attack on the bishop. What are they going to do? Doesn't seem like it makes sense to go here, can't go here. Are they going to retreat this way, or are they going to maybe trade the bishop off? Any of those are potentially good for me. They decide to trade off, that's fine. Captures, captures, and now I have this sort of powerful block of pawns facing the kingside. Look at Black's development. They've developed the pieces on the kingside, no development on the queenside, so it looks like they're going to castle kingside. I want to castle kingside. If we both castle kingside, I get control of the semi-open f-file. Very good for me. So they play a developing move, short castles, and we enter the middle game, and this is exactly what I want in the Vienna. Because let's go take a look. Black has only one developed piece. These pieces, they could develop, but no, my king's on this side. While white, let's have a look. Bishop staring, other bishop, queen ready to come out this way, knight ready to jump forward, the rook already controlling the semi-open f-file. So in the Vienna, white's pieces are often really well geared up for an attack on the kingside. Now black here is potentially kind of all right. I think, what's the evaluation? It's about plus 1.8, plus 2. So, white's definitely better, but it's not like a crushing victory. But, it's so easy now for white to launch an attack. And it's one of the great things about the Vienna. Now, first thing sliding the queen over to e1. And the logic here is it gives the queen access to the g3 square, also the h4 square, brings the queen into the attack. All right, that's a little bit of inaccuracy. It's not too bad. Stockfish thinks developing the knight is best. However, can you see the best move now for white? How can white really make an attack? Now, sensible looking move, potentially maybe queen to g3. That looks pretty powerful because then potentially you've got a very, very strong mating attack here. However, what we can do here now is not to play that slow move, but immediately smash open black's kingside defenses. Bishop captures pawn on h6. Brilliant move, and it's a sacrifice. Black should take, and now queen to g3 with check. Which way is the king going to go? Now, king h8 is actually the more accurate move, but they move the king the other side, which is a bit of a mistake. And here, Stockfish at low depth doesn't even see how bad this is. This is actually better than +5 for white. And pretty much this move is the beginning of the end for black. Let's see what that looks like. Remember, staring at the f pawn on f7. That's what it's going to be about. Queen to h4, now with a chain attack on that pawn. You can see Stockfish reckons with perfect play that the knight move is a little bit better. However, I think this move is a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more obvious, and is still completely fine. So here we're still about +3.5. The other, with the knight move is about +5. Either way, it's winning. This is easier to play. I think this is actually the better move for humans. Here, they need to do something about that. What are they going to do? Very natural looking move is to bring the knight here with a defense of that pawn, discovered attack on the queen, invitation to trade queens. Obviously, if we trade queens, my attack is reduced in intensity, potentially even nerfed. However, the best move here is actually king forward to g7, which doesn't look like it's quite right. However, that is the best move. They play the knight move, however, the backwards knight move. That's a mistake. You can see it's even worse. And again, Stockfish can't actually tell how bad it is. On low depth, +4.5. At higher depth, it's better than +7. It's almost +8. And look how sad black's position is. Every single one of their pieces is on their back rank. No, this is just the power of the Vienna game. Here, I don't want to trade. I want to keep the attack up. Queen forward to h5. And now notice 1, 2, 3 pieces staring at the f-pawn, only defended by the king. They're in a woeful, woeful state, really, really big problems. They try to, put an extra defender, maybe trade things off. That's perfectly okay for me. Let's trade things off. Trades. Okay. And now I've got the wonderful move, knight forward to g5 with, again, triple attack on the f-pawn on f7. This is an immediate mate threat. What are they going to do? And that's the thing. Anything that doesn't potentially defend the pawn is immediately losing. So let's say trying to attack the queen doesn't work. That is mate, okay? And in fact, the best move here for black, according to the engine at high depth, is the extraordinary queen to f6 blocking the knight with an attack on the knight, and also the queen providing defense of that f-pawn. Very, very difficult to see. They played, I think, probably the most human-looking blocking move, which was a rook to f6. However, that's fine. Captures, and here, black has a problem. If they capture with the knight, that would be mate. So it looks like they have to capture with the queen, right? So queen captures the rook, and it looks like, I no longer have a mate threat. Looks like they've developed +2 material. Do you see the killer kick, killer move? Knight to h7, royal fork, and in this position, black opted to resign, emotional damage, good game, GG. The big takeaway from this game is to recognise the strategic motifs when playing the Vienna Game or Vienna Gambit, especially when black castles Kingside. Right after the castle, launch a massive attack on black's king on the king side, and it's often overwhelmingly winning. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.